Hey everyone, Ryan from eBike Escape, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the GT Grade Current, so let's check it out. Before we get into the walk around of the GT Grade Current, if you want to help support what we're doing here at eBike Escape, please check out the links in the description. I'll have links to our electric bike accessories list, top e-bike brands page, and finally our electric bike discounts code page where I track all the deals on the electric bike brands that I follow. With that, let's get into the walk around of this newly announced GT Grade. This is the Grade series, but this is the current model. They also sell a Bolt, which will be available in the United States as well. I'll put on the screen the specs of that electric bike in case you want to compare both of them. But we have the Current here, and what is unique about this one is I do believe this is more affordable than the Bolt at $3,300. That's MSRP. And the other super cool thing about this gravel bike is really you can take it to the streets as well. You can see it has flat bars. So perhaps if you want to get into gravel riding, but you want flat handlebars, this might be a good option. And the Bolt comes with drop handlebars instead of flat handlebars. All right, let's take a closer look at all of these components. We'll start here in the front of the bike. For brakes, we have Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. Definitely a really nice feeling brake. These are 180 millimeter rotors, and as I go through the rest of the bike, you'll notice that there's plenty of mounting points around the Grade Current. And as we're going through all of the components on this electric bike, it just feels like a pretty high-end gravel electric bike. You can see that the hose for that front hydraulic disc brake is routed right through the fork there. And speaking of fork, this is a GT Grade E-Carbon fork, and it does have a through axle. And for tires, we have WTB. These are Nano 700C by 40C. These are definitely some tires for gravel riding, as you can see. And as far as aesthetics go on this bike, it's kind of a black on black color scheme, or maybe gray on black, if you will. We have a matte finish here. You can see the GT emblem right here on the front. Looks very slick. We also have GT here on the seat tube as well. Moving on to the front of the bike, you can see we have the matching Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. No motor cutoffs with these brakes, but just keep in mind it is a smaller motor. And of course, if you're riding this bike, you're probably a pretty experienced rider, so maybe less of an issue. And we do have fabric matching grips here. These are locking ribbed grips. Feel pretty nice on the hands. And 700 millimeter bars here, again, flat handlebars on the Current. And then we do have a Micro Shift Advent X front shifter, trigger shifter. This is a 10-speed electric bike. Now, Micro Shift is a brand that I've been seeing more often, and I feel like it comes in at more of an affordable price, but still feels really nice in my opinion. And the Advent X group set is the highest end components that Microshift currently offers. And you'll notice no display here on the handlebars, and that is because the controls are built into the top tube here. Go ahead and turn that on. Hold the button. It'll flash a few different colors, and then it will display your battery capacity. So it should show me white, and that means that the battery is over 75% charged. And then the way you change the pedal assist is to press the button again. Green is the lowest level of pedal assist, and then it will go to orange, and then finally red, and that'll be the highest level of assist on this electric bike. Now, while you don't have a display, their mobile app is actually really good. I'll put on the screen walking through just the settings and some of the information there. You can track your rides. I think they did a really nice job with the app. Definitely one of the more complete and user-friendly apps that I've seen with some of these integrations. You can see we have some bottle cage bosses again around here on the down tube, on the seat tube, as well as on the top of the top tube, and just some other decals here, some checkerboard pattern on the top of the top tube here. Since we're here, let's talk about the seat. Fabric seat matches the branding on the grips. And of course, this is a pretty firm seat. So if you're going to be riding this, highly recommend wearing some padded shorts. And I talked about the mounting points. I'll talk about the rest of them here on the bottom of the down tube. And then we also have them on the seat stays on both sides. Now this is the large size of this bike, so just keep that in mind when you're watching the third-person riding footage. Towards the end of this video, I'm 6 feet tall, feels really good. I do have a 32-inch inseam. Here's the charger port on this electric bike. Has a dust and water cover here, so that's where you're going to charge this electric bike. Now the battery, of course, is integrated right into the down tube here. This is a Male, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, e-bike motion 250 watt-hour battery. So it's one of those bikes that you're definitely going to get some exercise on, but you do have that motor, of course, to help you out along the way. Now the model I had set up did not include pedals. They did put on some Well-Go pedals. I'm not actually sure if this comes with pedals. My guess would be not. And likely you're going to want to put on your own pedals anyway with an electric bike like this. Now moving on to the rear of the bike, the only difference is we do have a 160 millimeter rotor back here in the rear. Let's move on to the rear of the bike. You get a huge range on this electric bike, 11 to 48 teeth. And of course we have the microshift matching Advent X rear derailleur, again 10 speed. And hidden behind that is the stealthy 250 watt motor. Definitely a bike that does not look like an electric bike. They do have some protection here along the chainstay, definitely going to keep this frame looking nice. One thing I wanted to point out with these wheels is they are tubeless ready. Finally, this is a really unique frame design. I believe it's something unique to GT. I could be wrong on that, but what they call it is their triple triangle design. And then there is a floating seat stay here. You can see the gap here by the seat stay. Definitely looks really unique. I don't know if I have enough experience to really feel what that difference is, but I wanted to call it out. Okay, that concludes the walk around on the GT Grade Current electric bike. Now let's get to some first-person riding footage. All right, let's get started on some first-person riding footage on the GT E-Grade. And it's important to keep in mind this is the EU version, so top speed is going to be right around 15 miles an hour. And so this first-person riding footage is just going to be a little bit different. Thought I would take you along on this ride that we're doing. And really, this is kind of the perfect trail system for this bike, right? It's a kind of a bike that you can take out on some gravel trails. And then if you want to use it as a commuter or out on the street, you can do that as well. Kind of a dual purpose with the flat handlebars. And so yesterday I took some power line trails and rode right to this location, and it really was perfect. I was on paved trails, and then I got to this trail here and there's some crushed gravel. So it really was the kind of ideal use case for this bike. And I was having a lot of fun riding around these trails, just super unique vegetation here in Panama City Beach, Florida. And just gonna look, I'm in the first pedal assist. Really, there's 3 levels, the green, orange, and then red. And I was gonna just check so I'm in one of the higher gears, definitely a slower cadence here, just at a leisurely pace. Maybe what I'll do is I'll turn it up to the highest levels of assist here. Definitely feel that motor kick in. Now going about 12 miles an hour. And what I was finding yesterday when I was riding a lot is that I was going 15 or 16 miles an hour, and then I would just kind of feel the motor kick on and off, obviously hitting that max speed. Again, the US version was going to hit a top speed of 20 miles per hour. So I was having a very efficient ride. I think I went down 25 or so % battery, and I had done 11 or 12 miles, and that was on the highest levels of assist. So when I wasn't hitting that 15 miles an hour, the motor was kicking on. So go ahead and, it's a really fun bike to just kind of zip through these crushed gravel trails. Obviously the tires are more than capable on this terrain. I think this park has 30 miles or something of trails, so just really amazing. Oh, Lenny's waving hi. And even as we get on some of this softer sand here, still feel plenty of traction with these tires. And I will say, compared to some of the other stealthy electric bikes on the market today, what I really like about this GT is just the gear range that you have. And we'll get to the hill climb footage here in just a little bit, but I have to imagine, while this bike isn't going to fly up the hill, you're going to have the gear range in the lower end to be able to pedal up the steepest of hills and get a little bit of support from that motor. And yeah, this is some kind of loose, sandy terrain, and just a really fun ride here. And what's really cool is, compared to, for instance, a mountain bike, I mean, this bike is just a lot more nimble, and you're just going to be a lot more efficient on trails like this. And you don't really need the suspension. You could add a suspension seat post. I think that's something that might be a good addition to this bike that obviously doesn't have a front suspension. All right, with that, let's get to the hill climb test, and we'll see what this GT can do up a hill. Okay, here we go, back in Wisconsin for the hill climb test on the GT E-Grade. Go ahead and power the bike on here. And this is the hill that we test out all of our electric bikes on, so you can compare and contrast. Usually my first test is using throttle, and obviously this bike does not have a throttle, so we'll just go up once, and I have it in its highest pedal assist mode 3. And we'll see what it can do. We'll put on the screen the specs of the hill as well. And I do have the GPS speedometer app that I use, Speedometer by Cool Nix. All right, hitting that 15 miles an hour. Motor's definitely going to be cutting off, given this is the EU model. Now it is a smaller motor, but I anticipate with the gear ratio, I could really make it up this hill pretty easily if I shift into a lower gear. Hill's just really starting now. Still going 14, 16 miles an hour. And this is probably where I'm going to have to start shifting down. I was in almost the highest gear. There we go, shifting down 10 miles an hour. In one of the middle gears, I'm not sure exactly where I'm at. And definitely working a little bit, going 9 miles an hour, but I'm gonna go ahead and shift down, yeah, even more. And now my legs are definitely spinning a lot more, going 7 miles an hour. And definitely nice having those extra gears in case you encounter any hills with this electric bike, especially with its smaller motor. So this is probably where I'd be, riding in almost the lowest gear. I think it's third from the lowest gear here. And yeah, getting a bit of a workout, but not too terribly much. And actually, this motor is so smooth, and obviously it's not a hugely powerful motor. You know, I can kind of barely feel it kind of helping me. I think I can maybe hear it just slightly, but definitely not much. And so if I really wanted to make it easy, I could go into the lowest gear there. And yeah, that having that range is really nice. And that's almost too low of a gear. I like to get a little bit of a workout. And that's kind of what this bike is designed to do. Just give you a little bit more extra power. So you can cruise around the city, go hit up some gravel trails with it as well. I've certainly been enjoying this bike. It was nice having it in Florida. It was kind of the perfect bike down there where we were. And yeah, 8 miles an hour right now still. So you're not gonna zoom up a hill like other electric bikes, but that's really not what this bike is geared towards. All right, I can feel the motor or hear it a little bit more here and going a little faster as well. So with that, let's get to the third person riding footage and I'll give you my concluding thoughts on the GT E-Grade. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm a gravel rider, and since I'm not into gravel riding, it's fitting that GT sent me the Current, which features these flat bars. For those who want drop bars, GT has you covered with other E-Grade models. The GT E-Grade Current is really a dual-purpose e-bike. Take it to the streets for commuting during the week and head to the trails on weekends. I lucked out that where we were vacationing in Florida, there's a paved power line trail that led straight to a gravel path with some other terrain as well. Score! So it's fun to try this e-bike out on exactly the use case it was intended for. I can see the allure, a light and nimble e-bike that is still capable if you decide to head off the beaten path. So what stood out to me on the GT Grade Current? The sleekness. I think a majority of people would agree that this e-bike just looks cool. Now there are of course other e-bikes on the market that hide the battery and motor well, but the huge cassette really hides it here, and of course there's no display as a dead giveaway either. Speaking of the cassette, it's nice to have all of those gears if you need them, and the microshift components felt great and probably keep the price down a bit too. The 3 pedal assist modes might not seem like a lot, but given this is a 250 watt motor, it works. And while it's a bit awkward at first to change the assist modes on the top tube, I got used to it pretty quickly. Though let's be honest, I left it in the highest pedal assist mode almost all of the time. Normally I'd say it'd be nice to have a display, but the Molly My Smart Bike mobile app really negates the need for a display. It was easy to set up and I even mapped a couple of rides. Definitely the nicest e-bike companion app that I've tested out to date. Now keep in mind both the battery size and the motor size are small on this e-bike, and that's by design. It's going to be a bike that might allow you to keep up with some more capable gravel riders or just extend the length of your trip on a solo one. The battery can be removed for winter storage, and I'm told it is compatible with an external battery if desired. The motor is just that extra boost you need to sustain a faster speed if you choose. And what is nice, if you happen to run out of battery, you're going to be just fine pedaling with no assist with the lighter frame combined with the 10 speeds. The Shimano hydraulic brakes are solid, there are mounting points all over this e-bike, and of course you have the gravel tires. Now in my searching, it looks like prices vary on non-electric gravel bikes, but in my book, if you can get a gravel bike that does double duty as a city e-bike plus is electric for the same price, it's pretty obvious which route you should go. This is e-bike escape after all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review of the GT Grade Current. Shout out to GT for making it possible, and if you missed it, check out my review of their lifestyle e-bike, the Power Performer. And if you are a gravel rider, let me know what you think of the GT Grade Current in the comment section below. The GT Grade Current will be linked in the description, other resources as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.